here in Melbourne with Marcus Maye, and Marcus just got done with a basketball workout, and I'm learning new things about Marcus all the time, and he's already got 7 or 8 basketball scholarships. What do the basketball schools say to you, Marcus?
They call a lot. They come out during the summer in July and watch me play, and then they come, to the high school basketball games. But when they call, they're just people ask how things are going with both processes, the football process and the basketball process with recruiting. Mainly they talk about basketball, and they ask me, how am I doing with that? Am I still considering it and stuff like that? I tell them yes as of right now. But football is something that I'm really focusing on right now. But they always tell me that if I decide that I want to do both, or just pick basketball, that they'd be perfectly fine with that. And they still continue to call, they still continue to show interest and stuff like that. So they're still having the offers on the table, and they just tell me basically I can make a decision because they would love to have me in their program with basketball.
So, you had 3 or 4 ACC schools in the mix there. You said Virginia, Miami, Florida State. You had, so we're talking big-time programs in basketball too. So, playing football at the college level, is it any chance you could play both sports?
I thought about it, but I also thought about how tough it would be. Focusing on football during the summer and during the fall, and jumping right into basketball. And doing that, different conditionings and, all that stacked on top of schoolwork and stuff like that. So, I thought about it. I figured it might be tough, but, if I feel like I can give it a shot after the first, couple of months and, the coaches agree with everything like that, it's definitely something I would look into if, I can see if I can plan out everything and everything is set. But, it's going to make, I'm going to have to make a decision, if I can't do it and stuff like that. But, it'd probably be tough dealing with everything, but, we'll see if I can get it done. But if not, I'll probably just pick football.
Now, you're also a 1,000-yard running back. I guess most schools are recruiting you at safety, but you're also a 1,000-yard running back, and you did that in about 6 or 7 games last year. Right. But you're a defensive guy, right?
Yes, mainly a defensive guy, but, all the coaches that, come see me and, that I have offers from with football, they tell me that if I want to play running back, I can do that as well, because they like what they see when I have the ball in my hands and the plays that I can make on offense and on the offensive side of the ball. So they tell me that I could either play both sides, or if I wanted to play running back, I could do that. Kick return, punt return is also things that they talk about with me, as well as the defensive side with safety.
Yeah, and you told me that you feel like you could play corner too.
Right.
And that makes a lot more sense knowing that you're such a star basketball player and play offense as well. So I guess yesterday or maybe sometime earlier this week, I know last week or 2 weeks ago when I talked to you, you really had a top 3, and now it seems like yesterday there was a top 2 and a third team there, and then you're still, of course, talking to everybody, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely still talking to everybody, have a couple more months, before fall and stuff like that. But the main group is Florida State, Alabama, Auburn, Auburn, Miami, and LSU. Those are the main schools that are focused on the most and that are contacting me the most. But that's pretty much the main group. But at the corner, I feel like I can play corner as well. I feel like I have great size, at corner as well as safety. But on the basketball side and on the offensive side of football, it helps me with my feet, my hips and my agility. So it was allowed me to change directions, on dimes and stuff like that. So it also playing both sports help, with my footwork and agility and stuff like that. So.
With that in mind, is that something you look at in the defense you would be going to? Like at the schools a team that would play a lot of nickel or something would probably suit your skills the best, playing that nickel position a lot. So, or getting a chance to, I should say. Is that something you really look into?
Yeah, definitely. Down in the nickel, you cover the slot receiver out, stuff like that. I could feel like I can run with pretty much anybody. I'm physical, I could play down in the line, close to the line. I also can run with people on deep balls and stuff like that. So and I look into all that, what defenses each team runs and, stuff like that, how many, personnel and stuff like that. So I definitely take that into consideration.
Well, let's talk about the 6 teams you mentioned earlier. We'll start with the team that's closest, Miami Hurricanes. What's the deal there? I mean, have you talked to him lately? What's the deal?
Coach Williams, the defensive back coach, he's come down twice during the spring. I talked to him a few times. He calls every once in a while. They just got the new coaching staff, Coach Golden. See how, we talk a lot. I've been down there twice with them, with the new coaching staff and stuff like that. I just got to get a feel of the new coaching staff and check them out a little bit more and see how they're going to do this year.
And then LSU, I know you told me last week Patrick Peterson is somebody that you like to play like, and the corner deal is a big deal to you.
Right, yeah. I definitely, watching him this past season, I watched him a lot, I see myself a little similar to him, the way he moves on the defensive side, his size, and also how he does kick return punt return special teams. He's an impact player with that too as well. So, I definitely watch him, and I definitely compare myself to him with the size and speed and agility and everything. So, that's the way they play him at corner, is something I can see myself doing as well with LSU.
And Auburn, the defending national champions, what are they telling you? What do you think about them?
Oh, yeah, I've been up there twice as well. I enjoyed it up there. Obviously they just won the national championship, and, they've been down to visit me and practice during the spring and to come to the school, and they call a lot and everything like that. I really like them as well. Their defense is, something that I like, over there. With Coach Thigpen over there and, Coach Hizik, I've been in contact with them a lot, so I really into Auburn as well.
Now, your top 3, I guess, are still the same pretty much,
Right.
and Alabama, according to something I read the other day or yesterday or something, I guess Alabama is the 3rd of the 3 right now.
Right.
Talk about Alabama.
Alabama, they're big, also a big name SEC school, which I like. Their coaching staff is great. Coach Williams, Coach Martin, and obviously Coach Saban is over there. I talked to them quite a bit. I went up there to visit them. During the beginning of the summer and stuff like that. I enjoyed it up there as well. It's a great place. I like the campus a lot. And I probably just have to go back up there. Check everything out once more, and probably take an official visit there and check them out again. But being coached and playing for Coach Saban is it's probably a big thing for me. He's a great defensive guy, defensive back coach. He's been in the NFL and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that I look into consideration. And the way they play the defenses and their personnel in Alabama is something that I like as well.
I guess Florida and Florida State are at the top and pretty much even right now?
With those 2 schools, I've been to both schools numerous of times, when I go to Florida, I have a great feeling about Florida, and then, I take a visit to Florida State, I have a great feeling about them. So it's like mixed emotions sometimes, but, those two schools are 2 schools that, that I can see myself really at. Obviously, Florida State just had a big recruiting class, and, they brought in a lot of guys. That's going to be good in the next 2 or 3 years and stuff like that. I can jump on board and, get in the mix with them. So that's something, that, I look into, and, with their coaching staff, with Coach Korn and Coach Triggett and, Coach Fisher, they come down a lot. I talked to Coach Dupes a lot. He came down twice during the spring. Florida State, I can see them, being very good in the next 2 or 3 years, and it's something that I really enjoy up there.
And what about Florida? I mean, who's recruiting you there? Who's come to see you?
Florida, Coach Robinson, the defensive back coach, he's been down a lot, and he calls when they can make their phone calls. And I talked to Coach Muschamp a lot, and I've been out there for their spring game and their junior day. I've been on campus quite a few times, and it's a great place up there. I really see myself, with Florida. I like it, typical SEC school of Florida, big name. They got a new coaching staff as well, a lot of NFL coaches and Coach Muschamp being, an NFL guy, big defensive guy, is also a plus. Being coached by him as well. They all, so it's a great place. I like the way they work their defensive backs and the way they send them to the NFL. And I look into all that stuff. A place where that I feel very comfortable up there and very comfortable with their coaching staff. So it's definitely a place where I'm very comfortable at, and I enjoy being up there a lot.
What is your opinion of the differences between the Florida and the Florida State defense?
I would say, the Florida defense, typical SEC defense, hard-nosed defense, big size everywhere, you got to, because every game in the SEC is going to be a great game. Every team is, stacked with a ton of athletes and great players. I like the SEC. Probably because it's a big defensive conference, and it's probably one of the toughest conferences to play in, as they say. So I could just see myself in the mix, and just being one of those guys that you see on TV every Saturday making plays in the SEC. So that's something that I can see myself doing.
How does that vary from the FSU defense? Do you think? I mean, what are the big differences?
I wouldn't say there's much of a difference because Florida State they pretty much can play with anybody as well. The ACC is also a tough conference, but I would say Florida State they had a good year this past season, which I enjoy. The defense side of the ball was pretty good. They just got a bunch of kids in this class that are going to be pretty good. I don't know. I don't think there's much of a difference. It's just, what I feel like, which team is the best for me and the best way I can see myself, making plays and stuff like that. So.
You mentioned early on in this interview that something about right before the season, and I know you told me a couple weeks ago you'd like to make that decision. Is it getting tougher now, or now you're kind of even whittling it down a little more? Do you think it's going to happen before the season decision?
I'll probably say, see how the end of the summer goes, and I'll probably take the official visits to the 3 main schools, and if I feel great about whichever school I make my decision on, If it's early, I'll probably make it, either before the season or during the season, whenever we can start our official visits. But I'm going to take the official visits to those main 3. If I feel like I don't need to take any more visits, then I'm going to cut it down to pretty soon. So.
What's the 2 main things, if you can, that you're going to make that decision about?
First thing, obviously, I want to go to a place where I can have a great education. That's first off, and then a place where that could set me up, off the field as well as on the field. Send me to the next level after college if football continues. But a place where I could feel very comfortable at. A place where I don't have anything to worry about. A place where I feel myself that I'm good, that I'm getting better. Making progress with my football and off the field skills and stuff like that. A place where that can set me up for the next 50 to 40 years of my life after college and stuff like that. So, a place that I can feel very comfortable and that can help me, exceed in life as on the field and off the field.
All right, man. Thanks.